Welcome back, friends, to the Bald Booktuber. My name is Scott. Today, on the 19th of March, I will be vlogging my reading experience with Book 3 of The Dark Tower. This is The Wastelands. As part of our read-along, we start each book on the 19th of the month because of the significance of the number 19 for Stephen King. If you recall correctly, The Gunslinger I enjoyed quite a lot. The second book, The Drawing of the Three, has been my favorite book so far in 2022. So I have high expectations of this one. I'm going to try and be a little bit quiet because it's very early in the morning. My wife is sleeping in the other room, but I will be kind of chiming in along the way with my thoughts. They will be spoiler filled, so be careful if you haven't read at least through Wastelands, Book 3. I have my ebook loaded and ready to go. I've got my audiobook narration by Frank Muller loaded and ready to go. I'm going to immersively read this. So hopefully it is enjoyable. So let's get started. All right, so just right off the bat, a really good summary of what takes place in The Gunslinger and in Drawing of the Three. So told in a much more clear and straightforward way than the narrative itself in those books. So nice and caught up. You know, I think I remembered everything that was mentioned in the summary, but now I'm off to a good start. So let's see what happens. We did the first part of chapter 1. I love a good training sequence when done well, and training Susanna to be a gunslinger was definitely done well. So definitely enjoying it thus far. It looks like Eddie's in some trouble here in part 2, so we'll have to see what that is gonna be. But I am hooked so far, so that is good news. I'm ready to see where this story is going. All right, so part 2, we're introduced to this dying giant bear named Mir, and I don't know how he's going to fit into the story, other than I'm assuming that Roland, Susanna, and Eddie kill him at some point and put him out of his misery. I don't know, but pretty cool descriptions of the bear and the absolute terror that he instills on the old people and the new people, as they're called. Yeah, we'll see where the story's going. I still don't know. All right, part 3 was a nice little interlude where Eddie's thinking back to his time with his brother Henry, thinking back to his mother charging Henry with keeping Eddie safe and looking out for him because their sister Gloria didn't have anyone to keep her safe. Some good stuff in there about how Eddie was simply better at everything, and it needed to be kept secret because he was the younger brother. And when Henry was outclassed by Eddie, he would do jokes where he would, hit him and stuff. So nice little flashback sequence there. I liked it quite a bit. All right, part 4 was a short one, and we see Eddie whittling, and he doesn't want to do that while Susanna and Roland are around for whatever reason. His internal thought I've highlighted here, that it was easier to beat heroin than to beat a childhood. Man, that's rough stuff. So yeah, we're moving on to part 5. All right, so that's a pretty terrifying sequence. Mir trees Eddie, sneezes worms all over him, gross, and is shaking the tree now and trying to get Eddie out of there. Pretty fun sequence, I guess. Hoping that Roland and Susanna can save the day here, and Eddie will be all right. Part 6 done. Nice shooting by Susanna. Got him right in the rump, so that's good. They're charging towards Roland, or the mirror, the bear is charging towards Roland and Susanna, and the action continues. Great shot, Susanna. Mir is dead. I didn't mention it before, but what's the deal with the radar dish coming out of his head? I don't quite understand. Maybe it'll be explained. I don't know. Let's move on to part 9. Okay, so the bear is a robot apparently, named Shardik, that's lived for like 3,000 years and is a guardian, whatever that means. It's funny that Eddie calls him a Walkman, and obviously Susanna doesn't know what that is, because in her world it was the 60s and they didn't have Walkmans yet. So humorous, and I'm confused. So that's good. That's Dark Tower in a nutshell. Humorous and I'm confused. So that's the way to do it. Let's move on to part 10. Really short part 10. Roland is succumbing to madness, it seems. Just keeps repeating the boy, obviously Jake. We'll see where it's going. So pretty cool creation myth there, with, what is it, Old Star and Old Mother, Cassiopeia. So that's pretty cool. And now it seems like Roland is going to hopefully fill in Susanna and Eddie and us about what's going on with the bear and some other stuff. So looking forward to that. Part 12, here we come. All right, really cool part there, part 12, that I will probably need to go back to and reread several times. But it turns out there were 12 guardians, 12 portals, and the nexus of those 12 portals is the Dark Tower. So interesting. Eddie asks if it's the same as the doors from Roland's world to his and back, and he said he didn't think so. He thought that was something entirely different. Interesting when he talked about using the analogy of the seesaw, where he's teetering in his ka on one side and the man in black on the other side. Cool stuff. It's not really sinking in yet or clarifying yet, but we're gonna keep going. So let's move on to part 13. Awesome stuff there. So we've got Roland giving some memories, and how he was raving and maniacal about how he killed the boy, Jake. And Eddie doesn't remember any of it, probably because he was having his own issues with heroin withdrawal. Super, super cool. I love when Eddie brings up RoboCop to give kind of an analogy of what's going on with Mir. This is some wacko stuff, and I'm loving every bit of it. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to keep going and see what happens. All right, so interesting part 14 there. There is a reference to the drawers, and it meant something to Detta, and Susanna has mostly forgotten those memories, but does talk a little bit about what it meant that she does remember, as a slang term, and Roland indicates that it was a slang term in his world as well, and it's basically synonymous with the wastelands. So they're it's going to be important because that's obviously the title of the book. So this is fun stuff so far. I am totally lost, but I hope at some point I will catch up and have some idea what is going on. This is some crazy stuff. I've never read anything like this story, and it's what I love about it. So that's good. So apparently Walter, the man in black, told Roland during their palaver that his ka was to have bad luck from now through the end. That doesn't sound great. but you know, you don't expect your main character to have everything be nice and rosy either. So um, let's keep going. Part 16. All right, this whole deal with Roland having double memories that are not in line with each other is really cool and really strange. I like the diagram that Eddie drew, where he's got the single track going to the way station, and then things split off with two different sets of memories, and then it's a single track from there. Um, and this whole idea of a story that's true and another one that's not true but should be, super cool stuff. Mind-blowing stuff. I should expect no less. So this is awesome. I'm having a good time. So part 17, Roland had just thrown the jawbone into the fire, and it turned into a rose and a key, with the assumption being that this is the key to the Dark Tower. The little picture of what it looked like that Eddie drew into the sand is cool. This is neat stuff. I don't know what to say other than I'm enjoying myself. So uh, apparently Susanna and Eddie have no shame and just go at it while Roland is right there with them in the campsite. Gotta do what you gotta do. I like how Roland says it's fine to be young and in love. Enjoy it while you can. He doesn't say it. He's saying it to himself mentally. Pretty neat stuff. Let's keep going. All right, part 19 was super cool. I'm always into dreams in my fantasy fiction, and Eddie's dream is so vivid and like, I don't know. I think I was supposed to learn a lot there. Mostly, I was just along for the ride and enjoying the moment. But um, I feel like I should bookmark that chapter and go back to it, because I'm sure that there's stuff in there that is going to be revealed over the next few books and the series as a whole. So um, mostly, I enjoy dream sequences. I don't know what to tell you. It's good stuff. Let's move on. All right. So the recorded message of Shardik shutting down and all that stuff was cool. And both Roland and Eddie reluctant to talk about their dreams and vaguely saying they don't really remember them. All that stuff rings pretty true. So uh, good stuff. I'm probably about 50 pages from the end of chapter 1, so I don't know how many more parts that's going to be, but we're going to try and get, at least done through chapter 1 in this reading session if we can. So I'm definitely going to keep going. All right, so I read parts 21 and 22. Didn't really have a ton of thoughts on those, just traveling mostly. But this most recent part 23, we start to understand why Roland is having these paradoxical thoughts and these thoughts that are contradicting one another. And it has to do with when he had saved Jake from Jack Mort in book 2. And we learn some more about the Ka-Tet and what Ka means. And again, it's supposed to be destiny, apparently, but much more than that. Destiny / fate. Really, really cool chapter that I for sure will go back to. Yeah, it's getting really, really good. I'm enjoying this a lot. Even Susanna talks about how confusing time travel paradoxes are, which is 100% correct. So this is good stuff. Let's keep going. All right, part 26 in the books. They followed the bear's trail back and found a site that had multiple much smaller animals, rats and snakes and bats and such, that had these same thinking caps, the radar dishes or whatever, their heads. Killed them all. And we finish up that part with Roland saying that they have found one of the 12 portals in one of the 6 destinations to the Dark Tower. So things are heating up. It's good stuff. All right. Parts 27 and 28 were both super cool. 27, Eddie thinking through how much he'd rather be in his world and, listening to CCR on his Walkman and looking at the girls. But ultimately, even if he was given the chance to go straight back there, he probably wouldn't because he wants to see this through. And then in part 28, we start to learn about what the beams are, how they are essentially lines of magnetism that hold everything together. We see that Roland is saying that the world is expanding as it's dying, and how he traveled 20 years for what shouldn't have taken that long to get from one place to another. Yeah, this is mind-blowing, fascinating stuff. I loved when Eddie said it was a physics lesson for nutcases, or something to that effect. Yeah, I think we've only got a few parts left, about 20 pages left in chapter 1. So I'm gonna finish those up during this session, and then we'll probably shut it down, and maybe I'll read some more later. But a really good start to this book. I'm hoping to finish it up before the 22nd, if possible, which is 3 days from now on Tuesday, when I will be starting Kingdoms of Death by Christopher Rocchio. But I'm just going to get as far as I can in these 3 days and see what happens. So part 29, we've got a combination of more dreams from Eddie and wanting to get back to them. I always appreciate when there's any kind of a Stones or Beatles or otherwise reference in a King book, because he and I share the same taste in music, obviously. And then we've got Roland kind of having fever dreams about Jake and continuing to mumble how there are other worlds than these. So that stuff's all super cool, obviously. All right, part 30, awesome stuff. We learned that the points of the compass are changing, and Roland still has this way with a mug of water and a needle to determine what the best direction is. So they're heading southeast towards the Dark Tower. And obviously Susanna is worried about how long it's going to take. And at some point, Roland says, at some point, it may be a quicker journey than you want it to be. Paraphrasing, but whatever that means. And then a bit heartbreaking to see Roland give all of his gun belt and his knife and everything to Eddie. Eddie doesn't want any of it, but Roland makes him take it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is great stuff. All right, so that is a good stopping point for this session. Finished up the final 2 parts of chapter 1, so chapter 1 is done. The title of chapter 2 is the Key and Rose. So, obviously we end with Eddie whittling away at that chunk of ashwood that the key is jammed into. So we'll learn more about that. I had a great time with this first chapter. I'm about 20% into the book at this point. So a really good reading session, and I hope you enjoyed some of my spoiler-filled thoughts along the way. I am going to keep going with this, obviously, and hopefully we'll be able to wrap up the book itself within, like I said, the next couple of days. Thanks for watching, and appreciate all of the likes, subscribes, and other commentary. Please feel free to jump in with your thoughts. Please do not spoil anything beyond book 3.